Okay, I'm hoping this is working. Okay, I'm gonna hope that this is working. Okay. It is working. Okay, just gonna pull up the chat. Okay, okay, we are live. Just gonna go here, gonna just paste that link. Okay. Okay now. Oh, my mic. Okay. Alright. Alright, is the mic working? Mic working? Hoping it's working. Hoping the mic is working. Okay. Just tell me, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Hello? Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Loud and clear, okay.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Alright. Okay, so now who should we start with? Alright, you know what? I want to start with my biographies, not trying to self-impose here. Alright, let's start with mine, because personally I think I did a good job considering the shizzle-wizzle that happened. Okay, so let's start with my main character. Alright, so, gonna go to edit info here. Alright, so, Mr. Nicholas Henry Weston was born on a crisp Monday morning on the 19th of December, 1877. His mother, Miss Elizabeth Weston, a beautiful woman with the most beautiful looks in London, a woman known for her social graces and aristocratic backgrounds. His father, a gentle, kind man, the founder of the Western Railroad tycoon, known throughout Europe for his vast, expanding tycoon and love for charity work. Growing up as an only child, Nicholas had many opportunities to observe the trait in his father, which over time was passed on to him. Excuse me, I gotta plug in this headset. I don't want it to die on us. Okay, alright, there we go. Alright, next paragraph. Growing up in the wealth of Kensington, I don't know why I have trouble saying that, I wrote this on my own. He had some of the finest education that London could offer a child. He made many new friends in his school, loving to horseplay, read, and most of all, write little stories in journals. It was with this amazing childhood that Nicholas went off as a Cambridge graduate and in 1895 received his degree. He began to learn business tricks with his father and more about the railroad industry. Nicholas needed the information as he was the sole inheritor of the railroad fortune. His works on learning about the railroad and assisting his father was cut short when in the fall of 1899 the Boer War broke out and the young Nicholas found himself becoming a second lieutenant in the Buffs, formerly known as the Royal East Kent Regiment. He was taken to Africa by ship, and in 1901, as he worked the ranks, he eventually made the rank of captain and was promptly transferred to the Black Watch, 3rd Battalion, Royal Regiment of Scotland. It was after he made this wonderful achievement that he was ambushed while leading a patrol of men. It was through his best effort and smarts that he was able to push through the ambush, leading the men to victory and saving all of their lives. When the war ended, he requested an honorable discharge, which was granted, and he was back as a civilian. I think I have a little error there. Technically, since my father was in the military, I actually need to fix this. He technically wouldn't be classified as a civilian. He'd just be a retired veteran, so I will be fixing that. Alright, back to it. It was around this time when his father died on July 3rd, 1902. This was a great shock to the family and his relatives. He had gotten a brain tumor, and the massive tycoon he had left behind was thrown into Nicholas's grasp. Though saddened, he had to Hello there. He had to continue on his father's legacy. He began working on charity. He began working on charity with all the money he had left behind. He began expanding the railroad into Spain and Italy, and while at a ball commemorating his charity works, he met the young and attractive Lady Edith Hartford. The two fell madly in love, and it was around this time that Nicholas was given the title the Right Honorable for his work in the military during the war and charitable works. This was a very happy time for Nicholas, and in the spring of 1904, the two married and honeymooned in a family-owned cottage in the Swiss Alps. Over time, the two continued their work into charity, and eventually founded their own branch of the Red Cross. Totally did not steal that off the Countess's biography that I made, giving funds to a brand new hospital and ward meant for children. Through it all, it would be an even happier time when on February 10th, 1905, Edith gave birth to a beautiful blonde baby girl. Christian Helen Eliza Weston, the newborn made news all over Britain, and the family couldn't be happier. Nicholas's mother, Elizabeth, was so excited to have a granddaughter. As Nicholas and Edith grew older, they started focusing on trying to have another child. Eventually, Edith was once again pregnant, and when she was around 4 months pregnant, Nicholas booked a family trip over to New York. This trip would be helpful to expand the railway into the United States, visit Edith's brother who moved from Britain to Philadelphia, and a leisure trip over to the West Coast. Originally booked on the famed Cunarder, Franconia, the trio was transferred last minute to Titanic, in which they would be staying in cabin C-77. Couple hiccups because I don't usually read out loud, but I personally like my biography there, not to toot my own horn. Hopefully everybody liked that biography. Well, let's move on to my daughter. Then I also wrote this one. It was quickly made, but I think it'll be okay. All right. Let's go to edit info. Miss Helen Weston, nicknamed Elle by close family and friends, was born on a cloudy afternoon on the 10th of February, 1905, to the Right Honorable Sir Nicholas Weston and Lady Elizabeth Weston. Edith recalled, "My, isn't she the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, my dearest?" The blonde-haired, adorable-faced baby made news all over Britain. Helen carried on many traits she loved from both of her parents. Helen, growing up, was shy and quiet up until around the age of 5, when she eventually was enrolled in a private school where she worked as hard as she could. She picked up on loving poetry and writing like her father. This baby-faced 7-year-old could never be mistaken as all fancy and lovely. She would love to horseplay a little, and sometimes too. Oh my lord! I think I had a typo here. She would love to horseplay a little bit sometimes too, and loved to make a bit of mischief every now and again. Helen would invite her friends over to play, but they would love to create mischief together. When they weren't creating mischief, they would love to play with their dolls and have tea. Eventually, Helen had to leave her friends and home behind. Her father was taking her and her pregnant mother to New York for a, quote, a sea adventure to America, as she was told. Originally booked on the famed Cunarder, Franconia, the trio was transferred last minute to Titanic, where they would stay in cabin C-77. I put that at the end of, Philip put the end of it at this biography. Did kind of inspire that off the Bose family, just because I kind of like that ending, because, why not have that little scenario where you're booked on another ocean liner, but because of the coal strike, you get transferred to Titanic. Righty. Next one, my wife, Lady... just to clarify, we are not in relations here. Alright. The next one, Lady Elizabeth Weston. Oh. Hey. Apologies, I am back, everybody. Alright, so Lady Elizabeth Weston, 27. Gonna go to my info. Okay, so Lady Elizabeth Hartford was born on the 13th of August, 1884, at the large and beautiful estate Hartford Hall in the heart of Surrey outside of Ripley, as the daughter of the 11th Earl of Foxhall, Jonathan Hartford, and Lady Augusta Lennox, Countess of Foxhall. Lady Elizabeth grew up rather spoiled as the youngest child and only girl out of 7 siblings. She was brought up by an army of nurses, governesses... Yes, the Windows sound effect. Governesses and private teachers. Lady Elizabeth was presented in London in 1903 and was one of the most wooed girls of the season. At a charity ball, she met the young and charming captain and very rich bachelor, Nicholas Weston, the owner of a railroad company. The two were married at a grand wedding in 1904. The couple settled in Kingston, London, at the house of his widowed mother and a small mansion near the home of her parents. Nicholas Weston, I've had to tell him to fix this. Nicholas Weston was knighted in December 1904, and the couple were now known as Sir and Lady Weston. The couple was known for their work with charity throughout England. They founded their own branch of the Red Cross, giving funds to build a brand new hospital and ward meant for children. Their daughter, Helen Eliza Weston, was born on February 10, 1905, a beautiful blonde baby girl. The birth was very hard for Edith, who almost died. She recovered and was totally in love with her little daughter. A few years after the couple tried to get pregnant... Oh, I am so tired. A few years after the couple tried to get pregnant again, but in vain, Edith tried everything and went to doctors in Britain to get help. Finally, Edith got pregnant again, and around New Year's Eve, 1911, the couple were filled with joy. Edith was so happy, yet so scared to give birth again. Nicholas booked the family a trip over to New York in April of 1912. This trip would be helpful to expand the railway into the United States, visit one of Edith's brothers who moved from Britain to Philadelphia, and a leisure trip over to the West Coast. Originally booked on the famed Cunarder, Franconia, the trio was transferred last minute to Titanic, in which they would be staying in cabin C-77, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that was all my biographies, so does anybody have any biographies they would like me to read? Any biographies at all? Do-do-do. Mario and Luigi in second. Alright. Oh, what on earth? Anesthesia. Alright. I'll read Anesthesia, then I'll read, apparently, Mario and Luigi. Alright. So, let's do Anesthesia now. Alright. I kind of prefer for it to be just like this. Okay. Not Chain Kid. Okay. Alrighty. Let's read Anesthesia. Anesthe Campbell was born on June 1st, 1891 to the self-made British tycoons. To the self-made British tycoons, Mr. and Miss Campbell. The couple were notoriously unhappy, knew money, and often snubbed by high society. Anesthesia's childhood was fraught by a vast succession of nannies and governesses, which served as no substitute for the much-needed love and affection from a mother and father. She, along with her elder brother, were dreadfully melancholic. I can't say this. Melancholy. I'll just say it. I'll say it like that. Don't judge me here. Don't judge me. I'm very, very tired, so bear with me. Throughout most of their childhood, December of 1900 was the year Anastasia bumped into her future husband, His Grace Atticus Campbell. Atticus Campbell, Duke of Agrell, while was traveling to London. The Duke was 13 years her senior. They would eventually wed June 2nd, 1909, a day after the girl's 18th birthday. Wow. Very, very young. The ceremony was a glorious occasion, bringing communities together from all across Scotland. She was now titled Her Grace Anesthe Campbell, Duchess of Agrell. What a beautiful title. Duchess is a very beautiful title. Alright, so, in the spring of 1911, the Duchess wanted to set up her own textiles and a linger company. Following many arguments with her husband, the Duchess agreed to not pursue her dream. Her close friend and confidant told her to register her company. To register a company under a male name. This led to her booking a passage aboard RMS Titanic, headed to New York in the spring of 1912 with another friend. A sly undercover business would not be the main goal of the trip, but also to catch up on her much-needed rest following the 2 years as a duchess. Okay. That was I like that biography. It's a very interesting biography. Very, very interesting. Again, bear with me. I absolutely hate reading out loud because some words, I just cannot sound out because I should probably focus more on English class. It's embarrassing. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at the characters here. So, we have... I'll check out Mario and Luigi in a second, real quick. See. Hopefully it's not true. Luigi... Oh, what the hell? What is this? Okay. Why is these Windows notifications? What the heck is this? Okay, it was probably one of the apps. My bad. Okay. Luigi. Okay, I forgot how to spell Luigi. Go up here. Oh, okay, I was right. What is these Windows notification sounds? Oh my lord. Okay, well, I can't really find it. Okay, I'll just read the ones that are in first for now. Okay, so. Okay, alright, let's see here. I'm gonna go up here. Anesthesia. Alright, that's anesthesia. We already got one of those. Not Shane Kid. Okay, let's read Not Shane Kid now. I'm gonna go on the list here. Alright. There we go, Not Shane Kid. I remember seeing this guy last year. Kind of thought he was a troll, but I guess not. Okay. Boarding from Paris. Awesome. I thought Boarding from Paris was very comfortable. It's very cozy. Very, very cozy. Alright. Not Shane Kid, a.k.a. The Stranger, is an American cowboy who was born in a wine cellar. Oh, God. Who was born in a wine cellar on February 14th, 1879 in Houston, Texas. Of course. He is the most famous for defeating Evil Ebb's Hole in the Head gang during his visit to the town with no name on May 29th, 1902, while trying to visit his sister in Dodge Gulch, which was 20 miles away. He became best friends with the bartender named Bart Ender. Bart Ender, that's pretty funny, actually. That's pretty clever. I know this isn't made up, but that always gets me every time. That's still very clever. And eventually decided to become a permanent resident of the town with no name. On February 26, 1912, he went on a steamboat from New York to visit his cousin in Cherbourg, France. After visiting After visiting his cousin, he went on a tour around France, and he visited Paris. Now he's going to take a train back to Cherbourg, where he will board Titanic to go home in America. Interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. All right, who do we have next? Michael Williams okay. All right, so we have Michael Williams, Dr. Daniel Alexander Hughes. Those are both in second. Then we have Sir Stevenson, Steph Cranmer in first class. Okay, so we're going to read those. Okay, all right. Who do we have? Okay, so... No, let's see. Perfect. 17. All right. Boarding from Queenstown, Ireland. It's nice to see people boarding at Queenstown on the 11th. I'm going to try and be up early for Queenstown this year. All right. If you are interested in character stories filled with happiness and joy, you are better off ignoring Michael entirely. This is not because not a lot of happy things have happened in the life of Michael Williams so far. Born on the 10th of March in the year 1895, Michael Williams hails from a family of great wealth and privilege in the English countryside, where exactly is not known by many. Michael, standing at a stately 5.8 feet, very specific, was a friendly chap, though he tended to keep himself to himself. Tongue twister, and does not speak to many. This is for an awful reason. ... What is that? Is that some foreshadowing? What's going on there? Okay. Since the day he could articulate his thoughts, Michael would have been a veritable servant to his family, toiling away in a state of servitude. Now, this might seem like an exaggeration at first glance, but one can only assure you that it isn't. Whenever he refused to go through with his family's demands, they usually would end up cutting his food and water supply. This didn't change much, considering what they fed him regardless. Oh my god. That's terrible. Ooh, it's some neglect right there. It's gotta call Edwardian Child Protective Services. Alright, continuing. It was only after 16 years and 11 months of this torture that they were blundered. On a cold February night, Michael left on his own in the house while his family went out to a, quote, grand event. He took this chance, breaking out of the Williams manor with a Swiss Army knife. 1,720 pounds. That's 1912 money. And a pocket watch. Then he left for London for good, proceeding up to Liverpool and bribing his way onto a cargo vessel en route for Queenstown. 2 months have passed since this happened, and the Williams family are well aware of Michael's escape. They have publicly stated that they will find him, no matter what it takes. Though Michael begs to differ, knowing that they will not be able to find him should he get across the Atlantic soon, he has made up his mind to secure a berth on the opulent ocean liner RMS Titanic. Sadly, however, when he finally had the chance to secure a berth, he did not have enough money to spare for any ticket. His chance now is to only win himself a ticket at a lucky hand of poker or maybe blackjack, though the odds that will never happen. Wow. So pretty dark biography to say the least, but I actually liked that. I really did like that. That was very, very interesting, and I hope it works out well for this guy, and I definitely hopes, you know what? What's gonna happen on Titanic? We don't know what's gonna happen. Just remember that. Okay. Moving on. We have Daniel Alexander Hughes. Okay, we're gonna read that one. Let's use the last names because that's easier. I doubt anyone else is named Hughes. Perfect. 38. Alright. Boarding at Gare Saint-Lazare, Paris, France. Lovely. The morning of June 21st, 1873, welcomed Daniel Alexander Hughes into this world. Being born on the right hour at precisely 7 o'clock, Daniel hails from a family of medical professionals. Daniel is a kind, caring person who looks out for others and puts their well-being before himself. This, alongside his family history, is likely why he decided to take up the job of a doctor, but we'll get to that in a moment. Growing up, Daniel was fascinated by 3 things. 1. Model railways. 2. Medical work. 3. Adventure. I like that. These 3 things led him through his childhood before he eventually enrolled in university, studying medical practices and medicine. After graduating with a medical degree in 1890, Daniel finally achieved his dream of becoming a doctor, being awarded with the title doctor in the process. After this, the next 2 decades are mostly quiet for Daniel. The medical work brings in good money, and he lived a very stable life. Along with this, he took up hunting as a hobby for time, but eventually stopped. Why he did, no one knows. Oh. Okay. In 1911, Daniel decided to take up the money he had amassed from his medical business. I hope I said that right, and explore the world, beginning by traveling down to Cherbourg, France. During his time in France, he collected many souvenirs of his travels and visited many places. While he was intending to go to Canada next, he was promptly informed via a letter that he was needed in New York by April 20th for work. Ooh, yikes. Then he booked passage on the next liner out to New York, which happens to be the RMS Titanic. General info. Okay, this is all this general info. So, date of birth, 21st June, 1873. Personality, kind, caring, willing to put others before himself. Cabin, F-44, second class, of course. And boarding location, Paris. So, obviously that is all up here, but I like that he included this down here. That's nice for people who don't look up here, but I doubt that people don't look up there. So, that was a good biography. I like that. Most of these biographies I do like. And first, apologies for those who are, Harold Sidney Bride. Yes, we will definitely be reading these historicals. I would love to do that. Alright, so this Nobody Needs to Know the person now. He posted 3 that I gotta read, so, and then I'll read the rest of everybody else's. Alright, so we have First Class, so, I'm gonna go all the way up. First Class, so we have Sir Stevenson, okay. Cranmer. I'm not really sure why that's happening, I'll have to look into that. It's like that's so weird. Nope. Oops. Okay. Sir Stevenson Steph Cranmer, age 30. Cabin S, stateroom T. I'm pretty sure that's what Astor stands for. Stateroom. I would assume so. Oh, and his birthday's on April 14th. How lucky. Very lucky. Alright. Sir Stevenson Steph Cranmer, born on the 14th of April, 1881, is a wealthy railroad owner, another railroad owner, alongside his brother, Sir James Jameson Cranmer. Both reside in London, England. Cranmer is a 6-foot-tall male with blue eyes. He is also quite strong and is usually friendly, though he is very protective of his personal items, mostly of his top hat, which he has never seen without. He is also an alcoholic. Okay? Yeah, a wealthy alcoholic. Very, 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 very elegant there. Very much so. Along with this, the brothers also own a domesticated red fox. While its name is not known by the public, it has been nicknamed Hatted Fox by the general public due to it commonly being seen wearing a top hat, much like the Cranmers themselves. Ooh, I like that. That's funny. Cranmer's life began in the southern part of England, where he was born at 11:59 on the 14th of April, 1881, shortly followed by his brother at 12:01 on April 15th, 1881. So we have some twins. Growing up, the brothers had very poor education and hardly learned anything useful. When they tried to complain about this, they were often scolded and punished. That sucks. At some point, the brothers received their top hats from their father as a, quote, early Christmas gift, despite the fact that they would never be able to even celebrate Christmas anyway, as they were usually busy being scolded. Shortly after this, their father passed away, which was sort of a good thing for the brothers. I would say that's a good thing, but I guess, I'm sorry for that. My, if you heard those notifications, that was just my headset plug kind of coming undone. Does that when I move my head a little bit. Okay, carrying on. By March 1893, the brothers had enough. Oh, 2 hats, okay. The brothers had had enough. And in the dead of night, exiled from their family estate, catching a midnight train with what little they had escaped with, and settling on the streets of London, taking the usual odd job. No one ever came looking for them. In February 1897, Stephen... I'm going to take off the headset. I don't need it. Whew. Okay. Man, we are back here. Alright. In February 1897, Stephen noticed an old, abandoned, rotting railway lines... Oh, oopsies. What? Okay, where was I? Here we are. An old, abandoned, rotting... Oh my gosh. An old, abandoned, rotting railway line, somewhere up north for sale, at a rather cheap cost. Without second thought, the brothers took a loan, purchased the line, and began restoring it. At the turn of the century, on the 1st of January, 1900, the line reopened under the name Cranmer Brothers Railway. The line ran roughly up 5 miles from a small village on the outskirts of London to an old mine which was still in use. The opening of this line was a massive benefit to the local towns and villages. Oh, this line, my bad. And the railway performed magnificently. The aftermath of this huge influx resulted in the brothers being knighted in June 1900. I like that. It's good that you explain why you're named, why your title is Sir. That's what I like about some of these biographies, how some people will explain why their title is what it is, which is actually a good quality to these biographies. Going on, I'll stop commenting, I'll try not to. Both now known as Sir Stephen Steph Cranmer and Sir Jameson Cranmer, respectively. Over the following years, the line expanded, covering a good chunk of the southern part of England, and eventually expanding north. During this time, the brothers had held massive parties at every reasonable chance, trying to live the childhood they never really got. In March 1912, the investors moved in New York. In March 1912, investors in New York asked for Cranmer to meet in New York within 2 weeks' time. James decided to go across to meet the investors, but as it turned out, Stephen was the one wanted in New York, which caused massive confusion. At this point, Stephen wanted to Have I been saying Stephen? Stefan. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oopsies. Oh my gosh, that's... Oops. Okay. We're just gonna pretend that we're gonna say... Oh my god. It's like... Jeez. Me today. At this point, Stefan went to his nearest ticket office and booked first-class passage to New York on board the Oceanic, which seemed to solve the issues faced. But on the 6th of April, 1912, without knowing it at first, Cranmer's life took a drastic turn and an unexpected turn for the worst. On that day, the national coal strike of 1912 was finally resolved after 37 days. This coal strike had caused major disruption on the rail and shipping travel. As such, the White Star Line decided to take coal from their docked liners in Southampton and transfer it to the brand new luxurious ocean liner RMS Titanic. Once Cranmer was informed of this last-minute change in plan, he was immediately provided with a first-class ticket for Titanic's maiden voyage. This sudden change of plans offset Cranmer's plans drastically, as this meant he couldn't wait for his brother to return from New York. This also meant he had to take the Hatted Fox with him, but there was not really a lot he could do. He just had to take a bite off the bullet. He just had to bite the bullet and get on with it. On the morning of April 10th, he awoke at 6:30 a.m. to a telegram from his brother saying he had booked passage on board the RMS Carpathia to leave the next day, April 11th. He quickly prepared himself and headed to London Waterloo Station, suitcase in hand, along with a Hatted Fox. The time was 7:30 a.m. There we go. Alright. So, who are we going to read next here? Okay, so gonna go up here. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Okay, we're going to do Neon. Okay, I'll do that one later. I do want to read Harold Sidney Bride. Alright. Okay, let's do Harold Sidney Bride. Alright, let's do that one. Alright. Oopsies. What? What did I just... Oops. Alright. Oh, you know what? He's probably being crew. I think. Right, there we go. I do want to read... Oh, no, description. Oh, well. Alright. Okay, here we go to Harold Sidney Bride. He's age 22 and born in 11th of January, 1890. With a good face claim. Oopsies. Alright, with a nice face claim there. Alright, so we have... Alright, so Harold Sidney Bride is born on January 11th, 1890 in the small village of Hull, England. He is born to Arthur Bride and Mary Ann Lowe. Ooh, Lowe. What do you know? Harold had 3 brothers and 1 sister, Arthur, Frank, Edwin, and Marie Bride. Alright. Oh, hold on. Just gonna check this. Afterwards, can you look at John Jacob Astor? Oh, yes, I will look at, Astor. I'll definitely look at Astor. He attended, hold on, wait. Actually, before I continue, I am gonna look at who else is in the queue, because I think I did skip a couple of people, and I don't want to be rude here. There's a lot of people who want me to read their biographies, and I'll try and get you guys. I'll do my best, but I am one person here, so... Okay. We're gonna do... Oliver Fraley next, and... Yeah. Alright. We'll do Oliver Fraley next. Alright. He attended Haberdasher's Hatchman Grammar School after graduating. When he asked what he wanted to do with his life, Bride announced that he was going to be a wireless operator. Marconi training was quite expensive, so in order to pay school tuition, Harold worked for the family's business until his 20s before he went to a post office in London to inquire about the telegraphy schooling. This is where he met Harold Thomas Cottam, who answered all of his questions, and in the following week, Harold was enrolled in the telegraphy school. That same year, Harold scandalized the neighborhood by building an aerial antenna in the garden so he could practice Morsing. That's pretty funny, actually. 8 months later, in July 1911, Bride graduated from Marconi training and was soon assigned to the SS Hartford, sailing to Philadelphia. Later, he joined the Lusitania, sailing to New York, and sailed on the Lanfranc and the Anselm, both sailing to Brazil. During that time, he met Mabel Ludlow, which he engaged on March 16th, 1912, although he regretted it. Oh, that sucks. In mid-March 1912, Harold received a telegram stating his next post was on the Titanic, and that he needed to report to Belfast for sea trials immediately. The chief operator of Titanic would be John George Jack, also known as Jack Phillips. Harold would receive a weekly wage of £3, 2 shillings and 6 cents. All right, attention required. Need a bag. Okay, whatever. All right, interesting. Good to know about Bride. Definitely good. Okay, so who was I gonna check out next? Oliver Fraley. I think he's in 2nd class. Yeah, there we go. Fraley. Oh, His wife? No description yet. Okay. Mr. Oliver Fraley, age 16. Oliver Fraley was born on February 6th, 1896, in a small village in Ireland. He was the youngest of 4 siblings, and his parents were hard-working farmers who instilled in him the values of honesty, diligence from a young age. Oliver grew up on a farm, helping his parents with the daily chores and attending a local school where he excelled academically. Despite his excellent grades, Oliver knew that his future lay in farming, and he dedicated himself to learning all he could about agriculture. He spent countless hours in the fields, observing and learning from his parents and older siblings, and he soon became an expert in the art of farming. As he grew older, Oliver began to dream about seeing more of the world. He read books about far-off lands and imagined what it would be like to travel and explore new places. However, his responsibilities on the farm kept him close to home, and he put his dreams aside for the time being. But everything changed when Oliver heard about the Titanic, a magnificent ship that was setting sail for America. He had never been on a ship before, and the idea of traveling across the ocean filled him with excitement and anticipation. He knew that this was his chance to see the world and explore new horizons. So, despite his family's reservations, Oliver decided to book a ticket on board the Titanic. He worked hard to save up money for his fare, and felt a sense of pride and accomplishment as he boarded the ship in Ireland. Little did he know the voyage would be a fateful one. I like that. It's good. Good job. Okay, who are we going to read next? Alright. Charles Newen. I'll look at John Jacob Astor, because, my, buddy here, Johnny, wants me to read that, so that's okay. So I will be reading J.J. Astor. Oopsies. I keep saying oopsies. I sound like a freaking 10-year-old. Let's say that. Yes, we have Astor. How do I misspell Astor? Astor. Yes, I will. I'm gonna read J.J. Astor, and then, I will check out yours. Alright, Johnny, do you have Madeline Astor with you, too? I see you sadly didn't get the sweep, but that's fine. Okay. He's 47, born on the 13th of July, 1864. Alright. Lieutenant Colonel John Jacob Astor IV. I think that's 4th. I'll look it up. I don't want to be wrong. I think it's 4th. No, not IV. I don't need IV. No. I can't. Yeah, it is 4. All right, that's what I thought. I haven't memorized Roman numerals, but yeah, I was pretty sure it was 4. Okay, so John Jacob Astor IV was born on the 13th of July, 1864, in Rhinebeck, New York. He was the youngest of 5 children, and the only son of William Backhouse Astor Jr. And Caroline West Astor Schemmerhorn. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. All right, Schemmerhorn. His father was a successful businessman, collector, and racehorse owner, and his mother was a Dutch-American socialite. His 4 sisters were called Emily, Helen, Charlotte, and Caroline. There should be no, I'm not going to be an English teacher here. Can't be talking because I can't pronounce some things. John Jacob Astor IV was a great... I'm glad that you're liking it. Alright. John Jacob Astor IV was his great-grandson of the German fur trader John Jacob Astor and his wife Sarah Cox Todd. Their involvement in the fur trade made the Astor family one of the wealthiest families in the United States. Astor attended St. Paul's School in Concord, New Hampshire, where he later attended Hartford College. Throughout his life, he went by the name Jack. Throughout his career, Astor accomplished a lot. One of these achievements would be writing the 1894 science fiction novel A Journey in Other Worlds, a book about the year 2000 and the people from that time living on Saturn and Jupiter. Sadly, that's not possible, but, people thought that back then. He also patented several inventions, such as the bicycle brake in 1898, and he helped develop the turbine engine. Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's a cool fact. The bicycle brake by John Jacob Astor. That's very, very, very nice, actually. Well, nice. I think I mean interesting. Ooh, all right. You might have just heard my bird scream in the background, and some of you probably know I have 3 parrots. One of them's in the bird store right now, but okay. That's totally not on topic right now. I tend to get distracted. Alright. Just like most of his ancestors, John Jacob Astor IV made his money through real estate. One of Astor's notable endeavors in real estate was in 1897, when he built what was known at the time as the most luxurious hotel in the world, Astoria. The hotel adjoined with his cousin William's Hotel, the Walsworth, leading into the complex to be called the Walsworth Astoria Hotel. That's cool. I kind of want to take a look at that real quick. I'm going to take a look at that just real quick. That's cool. Alright, you excuse me just real quick. I do need to go, go check on my bird real quick. I will be back in just 1 minute, okay? And then we will continue on this next paragraph here. Okay, we are back. Alright, getting back into it. And in 1898, after a few years of the Cuban Rebellion, which got the United States' attention, the USS Maine sunk whilst in the Havana Harbor. The U.S. government blamed a mine and didn't point any fingers, but the American people turned the blame to Spain. Oh, why Spain? Not really sure why. That was why that happened to Spain. All right. Congress called for a declaration of war on Spain, and on the 25th of April, 1898, their wish was granted. Shortly after the outbreak of the war, Astor began to personally fund an artillery unit, which was known as the Astor Battery, which fought in the Philippines and in May of that's why I was confused. And in May of 1898, Astor was appointed to the rank of lieutenant colonel and served as a staff officer to a major general and in the Cuban campaign. Okay, that's cool. Okay. All right. So, on the 17th of February, 1891, John Jacob Astor IV. Oh, my mother in the background. Okay, so she's yelling at my bird. You got bit. Oh well. Alright, married, and on the 17th of February, 1891, John Jacob Astor IV married the American socialite Ava Lowe Willing and had 2 children with her. However, in November 1909, the couple divorced. Adding on to the newly created scandal, Astor announced that he would remarry in 1911 when Astor was 47 years old. He married the 18-year-old woman Madeline Talmang Force, who was 1 year younger than his son. Oh my God. It's like adopting another child. The age difference caused a lot of controversy. One of the few Americans who sided with him in this marriage was Margaret Brown, who will later be known as the unsinkable Molly Brown. I'm just going to suggest you might want to remove that, because we don't want to, know that the sinking is coming. But that is actually interesting information. Personally, I would not really support this because that feels kind of weird. An 18-year-old marrying a 47-year-old dude. That's kind of, That's kind of strange, to say the least, but that's just my opinion. Alright, continuing here. Astor and his new wife would take an extended honeymoon in Europe and Egypt with the hope that by the time they came back, the gossip would die down. They were accompanied by their now good friend, Margaret Brown. On this trip, Madeline became pregnant. After discovering this news, the couple wanted their child to be born in the United States. Astor decided that he would return via the new ship RMS Titanic with Brown and his wife and their personal staff. The three boarded from Cherbourg at 7:30 p.m. Alrighty. That was another biography. Ooh, who's this? Okay, now who else should we read? Alright. Lord Arthur F. Burnham. Alright. I'll do that. Yeah, that's easy. Alright. Arthur. Alright. Burnham. There we go. Alright. In C81. Ooh, that's a beautiful cabin. I'm over in C77, so we're almost neighbors. We're 2 cabins away. That's actually awesome. Alright. Alright, actually, no, we are neighbors. We are. Alright, that's cool. Alright. Lord Arthur F. Burnham, 5th Viscount of Cobham. Born on September 14th, 1887, so he is 24 and boarding from Waterloo Station. So I'm assuming his mother would probably be boarding there too. Alright. Arthur F. Burnham was born in Worcester, England on September 14th, 1887. Bear with me if I mispronounce some of the English or French or wherever else your characters are born or lived in, because I'm American, so I'm not very familiar with English and other European towns and villages, but I believe that's okay. Alright. Personal assistant. Okay, I'll look at the personal assistant after I look at his mother. Okay. He is the eldest son of Lord Frederick Edward Burnham, 4th Viscount of Cobham, and his wife, the American heiress, Winifred Constance Burnham. What a beautiful name. I like the name Winifred, and Constance is a decent name. Alright, growing up, Arthur was, oh, my bad. Growing up, Arthur was brought up in a life of luxury and high class. Okay, I'm just going to put the phone just away so I can't see your chats. They're being a little bit distracting. Maybe that's why I'm stuttering. Alright, so, let's see here. Growing up, Arthur was brought up in a life of luxury and high class. His upbringing was steeped in the traditions and expectations of the English aristocracy. Yeah. From an early age, Arthur was expected to maintain the family's reputation and carry on their legacy. He was raised in Cobham Hall, a grand estate that had been in his family for generations, with sprawling gardens, a large staff, and trappings of all the wealth and privilege. Cobham Hall would be located at the family seat in oh my, it's actually a really cool name for a town. Worcestershire. East Worcestershire. There we go. We did it. Woo! As the heir to the title of Viscount Cobham, he received a first-class education at Eton College and Trinity College, Cambridge, where he excelled in both academic and sporting pursuits. Despite the pressure, he thrived in his studies at Eton College and developed a passion for politics, likely influenced by his father's involvement in the Liberal Party and as a member of Parliament. In his late teenage years, Arthur found a deep passion for writing. He spent much of his free time penning poetry and short stories, and even began writing his novel. He was particularly drawn to the themes of justice and equality, and often wrote about the true stories of people who faced challenges and adversity to their social status. Though his early works were not widely published, they helped shape his voice as a writer and lay the foundation for his later literary pursuits. While at Trinity College, Arthur immersed himself in academic and social life. He became known for his exceptional writing skills and was a regular contributor to the college's literary magazine, the Granta. All right. He often wrote about his love for the countryside and nature, and in addition to his writing, Arthur was an excellent student and earned a degree in law from Trinity College. His academic success and passion for writing made him a popular figure on campus, and he formed close friendships. His academic success and passion for writing made him a popular figure on campus, and he formed close friendships with many of his classmates. During his time at college, Arthur frequently attended debates and discussions on current affairs. This interest would later lead him to pursue a career in politics, following the footsteps of his father and grandfather before him. In 1909, tragedy struck the Burnham family when Lord Frederick, Arthur's father, passed away from tuberculosis. Oh, that sucks. That's a crappy way to die. It's a really shitty way to die. Alright. The loss of his father hit Arthur hard, and he had always been very close to him. He was devastated by his father's death and struggled to come to terms with the fact that he would never see him again. This event had a profound impact on Arthur, who found it difficult to deal with the grief and responsibilities that came with inheriting his father's titles and estates at such a young age. Despite his grief, Arthur was determined to honor his father's memory and continue on the family's legacy. In 1910, at the age of 23, Arthur was elected to the House of Commons as a member of the Liberal Party. Pretty young for that. Representing the same seat that his father represented for so many years. He threw himself into duties as a member of Parliament, representing East Worcestershire. He also took up the role of High Sheriff of Bewdley. Bewdley. A position that his father had also held, as a way of keeping his memory alive. As the son of a prominent aristocrat, Arthur was expected to marry a woman from a similarly respectable and wealthy family. His mother, Winifred, had been born into the Burnham family, known for their involvement in show business and their vast wealth. When Arthur's father died in 1909, it left the family in a precarious financial situation, and a strategic marriage could help secure the family's future. So it could help, I tend to make some words up to help myself out. I don't know why I do that, but I do. As Arthur entered his mid-20s, his mother began to worry that he was still unmarried. Despite his many social gatherings and introductions to eligible young women, Arthur had yet to find a suitable match. Winifred was determined to see her eldest son wed and start a family, and was expected of as a man of his social standing. She regularly pressured him to attend social events and parties in the hopes of finding him a match. Arthur, however, was more interested in writing and politics than finding a wife. He felt he had still much to accomplish before settling down and starting a family. This tension between mother and son would continue until the fateful decision to embark on the Titanic in 1912. In spring of 1912, Arthur's mother, Winifred, suggested that he travel to America to find a suitable wife. Arthur was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to the idea. They decided to book passage on the luxurious Titanic, which was scheduled to depart from Southampton on April 10th, 1912. They secured a first-class ticket and a room in cabin C81. Arthur and his mother had a special attachment to Titanic as they previously traveled on her sister ship, the Olympic, in 1911. Arthur was fascinated by the ship's design and engineering and was excited to sail on her maiden voyage. Little did he know that this fateful decision would change his life forever. Good biography. Very good, very good. Actually got a picture of that, definitely. Definitely picture that. Okay. So who are we gonna do next? Give me one moment. Oh yeah, we're gonna do his mother. Just one moment. Alrighty. Alright, we're going to do the next one. We're going to do Lady Winifred C. Burnham. Whew. Winifred Constance Burnham was born on June 5th, 1857 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to the infamous P.T. Burnham and Charity Howard. Her father was a successful businessman and politician who served as Bridgeport's mayor. Her father was a tailoress who was known for her philanthropic work. Her parents placed a strong emphasis on marrying the right man and marrying into a rich family. Winifred grew up in a life of luxury, attending prestigious schools such as Miss Porter's School in Farmington, Connecticut. It was here that she was exposed to a rigorous academic program which would shape her future in education and career. In addition to the core curriculum, she also took courses in music, art, and literature. She excelled in her studies, particularly in the arts, where she discovered a passion for fashion. Ooh, passion for fashion. There we go, boys. Passion for fashion. All right, I'll stop. I really should. I definitely should. Where she discovered a passion for fashion and design. After finishing her studies at Miss Porter's School, Winifred decided to pursue her love for fashion and enrolled at the Parisian Fashion Design School. I mean, I can try and pronounce this, and if anyone's French here, please don't judge me, but I know you're going to be judging me. So, I'll do my best. I don't speak much French. I speak like a little bit because I am half Canadian, so I kind of know how to pronounce this. So, École des Beaux Arts. I think that's how you say it. There we go. I think that's it. Alright, arts. While in Paris, she honored her skills and the haute couture and developed a keen eye for fashion. It was there that she met her future husband, Lord Frederick Edward Burnham, 4th Viscount of Cobham, who was visiting Paris on a diplomatic mission. Frederick was immediately taken by Winifred's beauty and intelligence, and the two quickly fell in love. The couple married in a lavish ceremony in Worcester on December 9th, 1896. After their wedding, Winifred moved with Lord Burnham to Cobham Hall in East Worcestershire. Worcestershire. I always have trouble saying that, don't I? Where they began their life together as a prominent aristocratic couple. Despite her busy social schedule, Winifred continued to pursue her love for fashion and often designed her clothing. She also became involved in local charities and philanthropic organizations. Gosh. Apologies, I really gotta work on my pronunciations for things, don't I? Becoming a beloved figure in the community. After marrying Frederick, Winifred settled into the role of a traditional Victorian wife, supporting her husband and his political and social activities. She was often seen as accompanying him to various events, including those held by the royal family. As a mother, she devoted to her children and made sure they were all well educated and exposed to a variety of cultural experiences. Throughout their marriage, Winifred supported her husband in his political and social pursuits and was often by his side at important events and gatherings. As Winifred and Frederick settled into their married life, they soon welcomed their first child, a son named Arthur, in 1887. Arthur was the couple's pride and joy, and Winifred devoted herself to raising him with love and care. When, from a young age, Arthur showed showed keen interest in his father's political career, and Winifred encouraged this passion by providing him with books and stories. As Arthur grew older, he began to exhibit a strong sense of leadership and writing. Winifred was thrilled to see her son pursuing his interests and developing his character. She supported him in his ambitions and often attended his scout meetings and ceremonies. Despite her busy life as a wife and mother, Winifred remained active in her community and continued her philanthropic work. She organized charity events and donated to various causes, particularly those that supported women's rights and education. Winifred strongly believed in the power of education to transform lives, and she encouraged both her children and others in her community to pursue learning and personal growth. Winifred always made time for her family and was a loving and attentive mother to their 4 children. When her husband became ill in 1909, Winifred was a constant source of comfort and support for him. She remained by his side, caring for him during his final days until he passed away on May 15th, 1909 from tuberculosis. His death was a devastating blow to Winifred and their children. She mourned his loss deeply. Despite her grief, Winifred remained strong and resilient, taking on the responsibility of managing her estate and providing for her family. She continued to live a life of grace and dignity, setting an example for her children and the community around her. It's a long biography. Okay, it's almost over. As Arthur grew older, Winifred became increasingly concerned about his bachelorhood. She knew how important it was for him to continue the family line, and she worried that he would never find the right woman. So she began to suggest potential matches for him, but none of them seemed to spark his interest. She knew that her son was a catch, with his good looks, charm, and prestigious family background, but he seemed to lack interest in settling down. So Winifred took matters into her own hands and suggested that Arthur travel to America where he might meet a suitable wife. It just so happened that a new luxury liner, the Titanic, was about to embark on its maiden voyage to New York City. Winifred saw this as an opportunity for Arthur to not only travel in comfort and style, but also potentially meet some of the eligible American women on board. Despite some initial hesitation, Arthur eventually agreed to his mother's plan and set sail on the Titanic. Winifred anxiously awaited the news of her son's arrival in New York and hoped that he had found a suitable match. Well, here we go. Both of those biographies, they were both very good. I did enjoy them. And I am kind of getting a bit tired here. 5:15 my time, and I do have a little bit of work I need to get done, so I will be ending the stream here. Tomorrow I will be doing another reading. Just you can shoot me a DM and I can make a list of people I will read tomorrow. And yeah, this was fun. I will do this again, definitely. If Shane doesn't do it, then I will start doing it. All right. Goodbye now. Woo.
Battery 40%.
I don't know when you want to eat, Hayden, but I'm making dinner.
Okay. It is still running.